Hey guys, welcome. Pat Precourt here. Welcome to this week's Friday Coffee Break. Listen, this is a place we come to expand our minds, to let ourselves grow. And the key to growing is learning. And that's why I got to take on a tough topic today. And I guarantee you by the end of this video, I'm going to lose some friends. And that's fine because, well, how good of friends were they to begin with, right? But I'm taking on this topic of Ferguson. I'm taking on Mike Brown. I'm taking on Dylan Taylor today. The last name you may not be familiar with, but you will be by the time we're done. I've learned a lot over this last couple of weeks, observing and watching not just the event that happened, but society's reaction to the event. And I'll be honest with you, wow, what a letdown. It's very hard to stand against racism when you practice racism. In its simplest form, racism is prejudging by skin color. Now, if this were a black-on-black crime, the media wouldn't have responded like this. The President of the United States would not have responded like this. All of the cronies that use special interest groups and these type of events to further their own agenda are the greatest perpetrators of racism there is. And it's almost politically incorrect to say that. And unfortunately, that's where society is falling today. So one thing I know for a fact is that each time incidents like this happen, society takes a huge step backwards. In life, the second we blame, when the blame game begins, the learning ends. All blaming does is assure that these events will happen again. The blaming's got to stop. Second, we tend to rush to judgment very, very quickly, and I think you guys know what I'm talking about. We judge people and we judge events, right, wrong, or indifferent. We're so damn impatient we can't even wait for due process to take place. We need an answer now. And then what we tend to do is formulate our own answer based on whatever facts or non-facts that we have, and then we share that opinion with others such that it is fact. And oftentimes doing it in a prejudging way, which is perpetuating that which we claim that we stand against. Next thing I notice is that we often play the race card, play the religion card, play the gender card, and I'm talking about our politicians, I'm talking about the media, to propel their own agenda when it suits them. But we completely avoid the fact that there might be a reality card to be played, a truth of the matter. Is it possible that Mike Brown was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, didn't do anything, certainly not anything bad enough to die for? Is that possible? And is it also possible that actions Mike Brown took, although they were not intended this way, may have put this police officer in a life-threatening situation, or at least he perceived it to be that way? Are those two facts possible? That's the reality card. Yes, they're possible. I don't know if they are or they aren't in terms of is that what actually happened, but neither do you. Neither does the media, neither do our politicians. Yet this case has been decided. This has been judged upon, one way or the other, without the facts. I've noticed very clearly that we find it impossible to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. How could somebody like me honestly put myself in Mike Brown's shoes? I don't know what it's like to grow up a black man in a neighborhood that maybe you're constantly in fear of the police. Maybe the police have really treated you wrong all your entire life, and all of your friends too. So yeah, they are the enemy in your little world, which might be 100% true. Yet we stand on the outside and try to judge him. But also, what's it like to be a police officer knowing every week one of your mates gets gunned down? Every week, one of them will, a police officer will pull over a speeding motorist, walk up to the car, and get a bullet lodged in their chest and die. What's it like to live that side of the reality too? See, I don't know that either. But for me to try to judge from out here, either one of those situations, can't do it. You know, probably one of the things that's been most disheartening and really sets this whole thing backwards is the actions that took place after the incident that reinforce a stereotype of thugs, right? Looting, stealing, setting things on fire, shooting back at police. Does that serve at all to move anything forward? And the answer is, of course it doesn't. You know, then I brought up at the very beginning here, Mr. Dylan Taylor. Do you know who Dylan is? Well, you'll never meet him now because I think 3 or 4 days ago he was gunned down too. Unarmed. Haven't heard about him? No. White man, black cop, gunned down, unarmed. Very similar scenario to Mike Brown. Maybe just as innocent as Mike Brown. Were there any announcements by our president? Were there any reverends showing up? No. And the only thing different, as we know right now, color of his skin. We said at the beginning of this presentation that the color of judging one based on the color of their skin is the essence of racism. Is the media there right now? No. They say boo about it? No. Why? Skin color. It's the only difference. So I'm going to stand before you right now and say, you know, if we want this stuff to really change, we got to stop falling down these lines of political correct bullshit and stand up and speak the reality of this, okay? Yes, all of our leading politicians that stepped up and said anything about this in the way they did are practicing racism in that they did it here and didn't do it over here based on one thing, skin color. The media outlets didn't get the bang for the buck over here that they did here. They're not going here based on one thing, skin color. That is racism. If you want things to change, we can't remain silent about this. It's got to start with you and I. You know, this whole case has overlooked one of the most underlying tragedies here. Another young man has lost his life. Probably didn't have to. Guys, I know this is a tough Friday coffee break, but I'd love to hear your comments, feedback. Peace.